Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an all-new, brand new Russell Rhythm show coming to you live, commercial-free from my super secret back cave. Folks, we're back in the middle of greatness, and today is going to be a little bit split, and I'll explain. So, we're doing some just general basic stories today, ripped from the headlines, as they say. And then coming up on Saturday, we're going to do the 2025 NFL preview. So that's kind of where we're at. Right, so first things first, still some fallout from everything that happened with Hulk Hogan back on Thursday. And this is coming from the good folks over at Cultaholic. And the thing is, Chelsea Green has been getting death threats, has been getting other basic threats online. And I'm thinking, for what? Chelsea has said what practically everybody else has been saying over the last, 5 days, which is Hogan was a once-in-a-generational, heck, once-in-a-lifetime talent. He was not probably the best in-ring worker ever, but he was certainly the most marketable by a mile. By a mile, he was the most marketable. And think about this. And I was doing some thinking over the weekend. I'm like, well, let's say that Hogan was in 2025. Or even back in the day, let's say he started off in the 1990s instead of the 1980s. Would he have been as big as what he is now? I don't think so. I think he would have been a niche talent. And that's not to try to throw shade on the guy or anything like that. But it's a matter of practicality, because in the 90s you had Shawn Michaels, you had the advent of Triple H, you had Rock, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin, you had Ultimate Warrior back in the early part of the 90s, you had The Undertaker, you had Bret Hart. I mean, folks, I've just laid out anybody's Mount Rushmore and then some. And that was just in the 1990s. If Hogan would have been around then, yes, he would have had a lane. Okay? He would have had his, like, oh, yay, Hogan's here, or whatever. But I don't think that he would have been as transformational as what he was with the 1980s. And certainly now in 2025, I don't think Hogan would have even gotten a second look. So for Chelsea Green to say, well, he was a great in-ring talent, he's the reason why we're all here, and he had a complicated relationship, especially with black wrestlers, black fans, that sort of thing, because of his racism. I mean, that's nothing new. And so for for people to go after Chelsea Green the way that they have, and saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have said what you said," it's just kind of like, what the heck? So I just wanted to get that out there as a bit of a postscript. Right. A couple of other things that have happened this week, and that was on Sunday. We saw England win their second straight women's Euro title in dramatic fashion. I mean, they beat Spain 3-1 on penalty kicks. So I'm kind of shorthanding here, but with the first half, I mean, Spain looked like they were just ready to run away with this. They scored, I believe it was in the 23rd minute. Don't quote me on that one. And I was like, okay. And then England did have their chances, but the level of goalkeeping on both ends of the spectrum was just phenomenal. And about 2/3 of the way through the match, I couldn't watch it live, but I was following along online, and I just clicked off. I'm like, okay, well, Spain won. Okay, whatever. And then I find out that night that no, it was England that won. I was like, what? That's insane. So England equalized. They came back, and then just go watch the penalty kicks. It's absolutely, something. I mean, it was amazing how England hit those 3 kicks. But even more jarring was how Spain just completely fell apart with the penalty kicks. The last one before England scored the decisive goal, and apologies, I can't remember the lady's name, and I am not here to try to dump on anybody. I'm not here to try to pile on anyone, but that final kick by Spain, where, I mean, we're not even talking like it was a little off. I mean, she shanked that kick. I mean, it was just it went way to the right and didn't even come close to the net. I was just like, oh my gosh, I get the pressure, I do, but the fact that you are shanking a kick like that, it's rather insane to me. And again, I'm not trying to pile on anybody, not trying to make anybody feel bad. It's just you're in that pressure cooker of a position, and that's tough. So there was that. And then also over the weekend was Ichiro Suzuki's Hall of Fame speech. I heard just a sliver of it last night. That was an amazing speech. He was so humble and so relatable. And people can say, and I have too, people can say, oh, he should have gone in unanimously. Yeah, but so should have Babe Ruth and Cal Ripken Jr. And I can name any number of other players that should have gone in unanimously. Uh, I'm not pulling back the curtain just a little here. I'm not a Red Sox fan, right? Not a Red Sox fan, but Ted Williams should have gotten in unanimously, folks. That's how incredibly hard it is to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame because you got these pretentious baseball writers, and forgive me, but they are a bit pretentious. They seem to think that they're the guardians of the game. I'm like, okay, woo, slow down here, slow down. If you're gonna tell me that you've got, let's say, 50 people, all right. And here's the part that's insane. I don't know how it all works, but I've heard that you can pretty much have anybody's name on the ballot. So you don't have to have a first ballot lock straight up Hall of Famer on your ballot if you don't want it. I mean, I don't know how that all works, but that's where the pretentiousness comes in. That's like, okay, so Ichiro was cheated out of being a unanimous pick. The only other unanimous pick was Mariano Rivera, greatest closer of all time, period, full stop, end of discussion. And Ichiro, who revolutionized the game, I mean, his swing was so fluid, and just the way that he carried himself on and off the field, I mean, it's absolutely impeachable, or unimpeachable, I should say. It's absolutely unimpeachable how this guy carried himself. Ryan Sandberg. We'll get to Ryan Sandberg here in a minute. But Ryan Sandberg, talked about playing baseball the right way. Okay. Well, Ichiro played it the right way. And so I appreciate Ichiro's grace. I appreciate his humbleness, saying, hey, yeah, I wasn't unanimous. That just gives me something to strive towards. I would have absolutely railed against the establishment. I would have been like, are you kidding? Did you not watch any of my career? Like, yes, thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for putting me into this Hall of Fame. But for what? I don't quite understand why one vote kept Ichiro from being a unanimous pick. And that makes no sense. If you don't like the guy, fine. If he stiffed you on an interview, I guess fine. If he was not, your hometown, your hometown guy, fine, I guess. But that's why I think that baseball writers, not all of them, but it seems like the majority of them are just so pretentious. They seem to think that they know better than literally anyone else on this planet. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. I mean, you may be watching way more baseball than I will ever watch in my lifetime. But the fact that you're telling Ichiro Suzuki, yeah, you're one of the greatest to ever play at your position, and you are a Hall of Famer, first ballot, all that, no questions asked. But I don't like you. Come on, folks, leave your opinions out the door. Leave your opinions out the door. They drill that into you as a J school, journalism school, or communication degree seeker. Literally on day one. On day one, they tell you, be objective. You leave your opinions outdoor unless somebody is actually paying you for those opinions. If they're not, then you have to call it right down the middle. You have to. And so the one person, we'll never know who, we will never know who didn't vote for Ichiro. I mean, it's a secret thing. And that's the other thing that I don't particularly like. We don't know who these voters are. It's the baseball writers of America. Okay, that could be literally anybody, you know. So you have to almost look at it and say, Ichiro should have been right up there, right up front, full stop. Full stop. He's not. What's done is done. But can you tell, even though I was not a fan of the Mariners, I can still, appreciate greatness for what it was. I mean, my gosh. So go out of your way. Watch his induction speech. I'm going to watch it here in just a little bit. But it was such a great speech. So then, final thing that we're going to be talking about, at least for today, is the sudden passing yesterday of Ryne Sandberg. And look, if Ernie Banks is Mr. Cub, I mean, Ryne Sandberg is Mr. Cub with, bracketed A behind him. I mean, this guy just screamed Chicago. And, I mean, he was just so good on second base. He absolutely was. They actually played Major League Baseball on their YouTube channel. They are actually playing the what's called the Sandberg game, where Ryne Sandberg hit 2 home runs to propel the Cubs to a hard-fought victory against the St. Louis Cardinals. And I mean, it's just amazing that you can be known for that. Did Ryne ever win a World Series? No. That's one of the biggest tragedies, in this whole deal. But I was at a local establishment last night with my dad, and so they had 2 different TVs. So they had a baseball game on one, and then they had ESPN on the other. And I just looked up from eating, and I saw it was tiny script, but I mean, you could still read it, and it said Ryne Sandberg dies. And I'm like, oh, come on. Please don't tell me this is going to be week 2 of the week of death. I mean, last week was brutal. This week, it hasn't started off the greatest. So that's my Ryan Sandberg. I remember watching him back in the day on WGN, and Ryan Sandberg was like one of my favorite players growing up. He just was just the way he carried himself, the way that he played the game. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. So, Godspeed to Ryan Sandberg. So, like I said, that's the show for today. I'll be back on Saturday with a full preview of the NFL season. So, till then, this is Russell Wortham, and be good yourselves and to each other. I will see you guys later.